Hello, my name is Joanne Kaminsky, and I'm excited today with today's topic because today we're going to be talking about, how to bring your YouTube levels from good to great. It's called the 7 top mistakes that people make when using YouTube. And why is this important? Well, you know what? Honestly, you want the most amount of people to be able to take a look at your videos. And if you are making these kinds of mistakes, you're actually distracting people from coming on to your videos. So you definitely don't want that to happen. So one of the things that people do is they have their video volume too low. And I have definitely been somebody who has been fallen to in this trap. I didn't really know anything about volume. I didn't know how to have good volume. And so I created these videos with Video Scribe, and my music was too high. And as a result, people couldn't hear what it was that I was saying. And so what I learned from that is that sometimes adding more bells and whistles to your presentation can actually be distracting. So always think about if the tools that you're using are enhancing what your overall goal is, or are they taking away from it? So what is it that you can do instead? The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your microphone is not too far away from you. And right here I have my microphone. It's hooked in. We talked about this microphone last week that I got on Amazon that I am absolutely loving. It ended up costing me about $50, I believe, and I'm able to just plug it right on into my computer. And so now I am able to get much better quality of volume than I was without it. So the closer you have your microphone to you, the better. But the further away that you have it away from you, the more difficult it's going to be for people to actually hear you. You want to be able to check your settings and make sure that the settings that they are receiving the input from the microphone of your choice. So what happens sometimes is that it's going to default to the computer's microphone. And if you have one hooked up to it, then the sound isn't going to actually be coming from where you thought it was. So let me show you exactly what that looks like so that you can see. I'm going to share my screen with you. Start screen share. And I'm going to go right on up. I have a Mac, so I just go right on up to the Apple right here. I'm just going to go right to my Apple, and I'm going to go to System Preferences, and I check Sound by clicking on Sound. And you can see right now my voice is, you can see it moving up and down. This means everything is it's a go. Everything is working the way I want it to be. The C Media USB audio device is what I plugged into my USB, and that is what's being used. So if yours isn't automatically on input, all you have to do is just click on input up here to be able to find it. Again, I have a Mac, so the way that your other computers will work will be different, but wherever you go to your system preferences, that's where you'll be able to find out how your sound is overall performing for you and what it's doing. So you definitely want to be able to check that ahead of time to make sure that it's doing what it is that you want it to do. Another thing you want to do, listen back to your video and make sure that when you're listening to it, that your volume is at medium volume so that your voice can be heard. If you had all the way cranked up on high and you're soft, or it just sounds good at the highest volume, that's not going to be good for most people because they're not going to have their computer on that setting most likely when they're listening. Nobody listens with their volume all the way up all the time. So when they come to your video, it's going to sound really soft to them. And not everybody knows that they need to turn up the volume on their video. We'd all like to think that people would know to do that, but they don't. And so you have to take that into consideration ahead of time. Now, if you are using a program like Camtasia or Final Cut Pro, you can actually go into there and you can increase your volume without having to change anything else. And that's a really cool tool to be able to use. Of course, both those programs do cost $300 in order to do that. So that's not an investment that a lot of people are willing to take at this point in time, but if that's something that is within your means, you definitely want to check out those two tools. The second problem that people will have is that they don't have enough lighting, and so their face will be really dark, and it's really distracting when that happens. And you definitely want to make sure that people are focusing on you and not your background. You don't want everything else to be what people are focusing on. So you definitely want to make sure that you have enough lighting. Now, some people are going to be taking their videos outside, and when this happens, um, they will just like take their video, click send to YouTube. How do I know this? Because I've done it. And they never view it ahead of time. And here's what you can do instead, okay? So what you can do instead is you can play with your camera ahead of time, and you can play with the best lighting. So if you're outside, you want to make sure that the sun is in front of you and not behind you. When the sun is behind you, it reflects a big dark shadow on your face, and you can usually see that in your video when you have it all set up. If you're making your video inside, then you want to make sure that there aren't any weird light problems that are going to cause a problem for people to see you. And so as you can see here, my face is very well lit up. You can see me really well. However, here's what I have to do in order to make that happen. In my office, you might be able to see a very strange light right on up here, right? Let me show you what happens when I turn that on and how that affects my video. Do you see that huge glare that now is happening on my screen? That is very distracting for people. And, like people, it's bright. It's not only bright for them, it's bright for me. It causes me a distraction. So I have to make sure in my office that I turn that off so that it's not a distraction when I'm creating my videos. And so you have to just take a look around, your office and see what's going to work best for you when you are creating your videos. Sometimes people will want to be able to buy and purchase special lights. You can create a soft lighting. You can get them on Amazon between $50 and $100, and you can do that. Now, if you're using a green screen, here's a special trick that you need to do. You need to make sure that you light up your entire green screen, and then you have to have special lighting on the person. Now, not everybody's at the point where they're going to be doing green screen kind of videos, but if you are, you definitely want to make sure that the green screen is well lit up. Otherwise, it's not going to key correctly. So another quick little trick is not to wear green or some other like really funky color that is going to mess up with your video. Some people wear weird patterns, or they'll be like green on their outfit and then that part like gets keyed out, and it's not pretty. So you definitely want to take a look at all of those kinds of things before you post your video and get rid of them. Sometimes people want to put they find out about all these different these features, and they want to put them all into their video. So this is the third mistake that people make. I see it all the time, like when kids first start using PowerPoint or they're making their own videos, they learn how to use this new feature and they want to use it right away. But here's what you want to do. You want to keep your videos relatively simple. Adding a ton of extra things is just going to get distracting for the person who is watching the video, and it also takes the focus away from what you're trying to accomplish. So while there are features that can enhance your message, there are also features that can take away from it. So one of the things that you want to do that will enhance your video is you want to make sure that you add your website on the video. You can see on the video that you guys are watching right now, whether actually it didn't, I'm going to go to save. It should be on there. And as I'm taking a look, it just says Joanne Kaminsky. But usually what I do is I have my website on there. I save it. And no, it's not saving or going on. So I had become an onlinetutor.com so people could go and check that out. It's funny, the things as you're going live, the things that happen in real life. Yay! But what you can do is you can actually, let me try this again. This is actually called the lower third on Google Hangouts. There it is. Yay! There's my website. But you can add your website that doesn't take away from information or anything. It just enhances what it is that you're doing and allows people to find out more information about you, more information about where they can find you and find more great stuff that you're producing. Without a website on there, people are kind of clueless and don't know where to go. You know, they watch their video, they're done, and they don't see you again. So you want a way for people to be able to learn more about you. So that's why I include that on there. You can do it in a lower third. You could post it as a separate box, as a edit afterwards, so people can see it. And there's lots of great tools to be able to do that. So that's definitely something that will enhance your video and not take away from it. Some editing software allows you to add music. You want to make sure that any music, any background music that you have is music that is perfect for your ideal client and what they want to hear. You know, let me give you an example. So you walk in the mall, right, and all of a sudden you see Abercrombie and Finch. You're like, oh my gosh, you know, I've heard they have some pretty cool clothes in there. I'm going to go on in. You check it out. But as soon as you walk in, bam, 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 you have this like music that's intense and it's going. And you know what? That can be really distracting for the wrong client. Now, their right client are young people. They love loud music. They like hip clothes. That's who they're marketing to. They're not marketing to, you know, the moms or the dads or the grandmas or the grandpas, right? So they're not marketing to us. But that's what our music sometimes can do when we add it into our videos. It can either, you know, push people away or it can grab their attention. So you want to make sure that you're choosing the right music for whoever your ideal client is. Some programs will allow you to like add words at different points to enhance your message. And this can make the video easier to follow along with. And you only want to focus on the most important keywords and not any additional information that's not discussed in the video. You want people listening to you and not reading the entire time, right? Like if you have too many words up there and people are having to go up here to read and then listen to you, you're going to lose something of your effect of what your overall effect is. So determine what the best key points of your message that you want to post up there are, and then you can place them up there. The fourth mistake that people will make is that they talk right into the camera. They don't create a script. There's no planning, and they just think, okay, whatever it is that I'm going to say is going to be great, and I don't need to actually plan any of it. Again, I've fallen very prey to this. So the only reason I know that this happens is because I have done it. Not because I know better than everybody else, but you know what? The videos that I've done that with, people have really commented about some of the problems of those videos. They'll say like, oh, you know what? You had a lot of those ahs, or you had a lot of ums inside of there. And people are really distracted by ahs and ums. So if you don't have it completely planned out on what it is that you want to say, you can easily throw in those fillers of ahs and ums as you're thinking, right? That's the, I'm thinking of what I'm going to say next. And then you kind of get stuck. And then you go in to what it is that you're going to say. And a lot of people are not attracted to that kind of conversational style. They like people that are planned, precise, and know what their specific message is. So what can you do so that you're not just talking right into the camera? Well, you can start out by just creating an outline. You know, this is what I do for every one of my Google Hangouts that I do. I create a Google Hangout and I think, okay, what is the title going to be? What is it that I want to specifically focus on? And then from there, I start adding the details for each section. So it's a pretty simple way to come up with my script. So after that, if you want to add some additional content, you can drive people to your website, and then you can write that in there too and not have them worry about forgetting. So a lot of times I know what I want to say, but I don't have the opportunity to say it, or I have to redo it because I forgot what I was going to say. I'm like, oh, darn, I wanted to say that, and I didn't really get that out there. And you might do better which is bullet points. Some people, they're like, okay, all I need to know are these basic bullet point facts, and I don't want to forget them, but that's what I want to talk about, and they're good from there. That works for them. Perfect. All you need to make sure that you're doing from there is just looking into the camera. You got your bullet points there that you can glance at when you need to, and then you're good to go. You can also use teleprompting software. There's free tools out there. You've seen them when people are, on a set. They have a script that is, scrolling past them that they are specifically reading from them. Well, you can use a tool like that as well for absolutely free. I personally sometimes use QPrompter, and I am going to show you exactly what QPrompter looks like. Now, I have planned out everything that I am saying here, so I am definitely following my advice. I'm going to take some of my script notes here, and I'm going to put them into QPrompter for you to see. So let's go back to share screen, desktop, and we're going to go into QPrompter. All you have to do is paste in what it is that you are going to do, and then you click on Start Prompter. Now, you want to make sure that you're going to add a couple lines right in here so that when it starts, you have enough time to be able to start your camera. Otherwise, what happens when you're doing this, unfortunately, it starts right at the top here and you begin to lose it. So watch this. I'm going to push, I'm going to press the space bar, and here we go. It just starts going on up for me. You can even change the speed. If you find that this is not the correct speed for you, all you have to do is click on one of these speeds. You can make it faster, you can make it slower, depending on how it is that you talk. Now, I don't use QPrompter for Google Hangout like this, but this is a really great tool to be able to use if you're creating a video that you're not going to be doing live. You're going to create it ahead of time, and then people will find it on YouTube. So let me go back into our Google Hangout and stop sharing the screen here. Go back to my regular page so that you can see me. But that's you can see how that can be a really useful tool for creating your videos. In fact, in about 1 month, I have an awesome training that people get a lot of value out of. And in that training that I'll be doing in a month, I use a teleprompter for that training. And in there, I talk about business plans. I talk about how to get new clients. I talk about just a plethora of awesome resources to get you thinking about your business, and you'll have the opportunity to click on into that to join in on that training. And it's only a training that I offer a couple times a year for people. All right, some people, one of their mistakes that they have is that the camera focuses on one place too long, and people can really become bored with that. And you might notice that certain professionals, they have side shots and it goes back and forth to create more movement. And this is one thing that is like really hard to do when you're having Hangout. Other than me sharing the screen with you to kind of change it up a bit, I can't exactly, change from going back like this to going forward like they professionally do on those videos. But you can create that with certain editing tools. You can create different angle shots by setting up the camera, then stopping it, and then you can set up your camera again to another shot and then continue taping. And then using editing tools, then you can get rid of those where you stopped and started. That is if you are doing your own taping. Some people have somebody who is the taping for them. It's a lot easier when that happens. Then they can just stop it, and there aren't as many different kinds of you moving forward to, press the stop button or things that are distracting like that you would need to edit out. So they can make that a little easier for you. I tend to do a lot of my own videos on my own, so I have some editing to do when it comes to some of those things of starting and stopping. Another big mistake that people include is not including a link in the description. So when you post your video, you want people to inevitably go to your website, right? You want people to learn more about you. So before you write your description of your video, all you need to do is put in a link right on in there. So that's another place that people can go. People usually are able just to then click on that link and go directly to your website. So that's why you see a lot of people who have their website before they start writing their description. That's the purpose and the reason that they end up doing that. Now, the last big mistake that people make is they leave their keywords empty. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, what's a keyword? A keyword is the word that people are going to type into the search box when they are looking for the content that you're putting out there. So since many people, they don't know what a keyword is, leave it blank. It's also known on YouTube as a tag. So this makes it harder. If you don't have tags listed, it makes it harder for people to find your video. It's very similar to the way we set up a filing cabinet, right? We set up our filing cabinet and we have certain tabs at the top that explain, what it is that's in that folder. And that's exactly what a tag does. People are able to click into the search box a certain tag, right? And all of a sudden, videos start coming up. Well, if you don't have any tags listed, your video's not going to come up, and it makes it harder for them to be able to find you. So we're going to talk about some different ways that people can find you, and you can come up with ideas. Sometimes we get stuck on what it is. So I want you to pretend that I have a video. It's called Motivating. I want to motivate. I want to be able to know what's on the MAPS test. I'm going to create a video teaching parents how to prepare their child for the reading portion of the MAPS test, right? All I need to do is go to a really cool tool called Ubersuggest. So again, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you Ubersuggest and what that looks like. So I go to ubersuggest.org, and I just type into the query here, MAPS testing reading. You do have to type in the capture, and then you click on suggest, and it's going to give you some additional ideas of keywords that people would look for if they were looking for MAPS testing reading. And I'm having a slow computer day today, so I've got some things that I need to take care of my computer so it will go a little bit faster. But you can get the idea of how this works. So let me just type it in one last time here. MAPS testing reading 4491 suggest. And it usually comes up with them in alphabetical order so that you can easily refer to them. And you can just take those ideas and you can copy the ones that fit your message. You can put those specifically right into the tag word, the tags for the keywords. Another great tool that you can use is called Google AdWords keyword. So I can just type into the top here, Google AdWords keyword tool. It comes right on up. And I can type in that same exact thing. I can put in search for new keyword and group ideas, and I can put in MAPS testing reading, and I can click on get ideas, and I can go to keyword ideas. Now here it says, well, Not a lot of people are actually searching for that in a month. Only 10 people. So here's something that's even more beautiful than Uber suggests, because here it tells me how many people are actually looking for that. Now, if I look at reading map test practice, I get 70. That's a great keyword. I could put reading map test practice. I could do a video that talks about how to help your child practice before they take the maps test. Another thing you can look here, look, map testing is 8,100. Now, you also have to think about what is a relative keyword. If we're doing map testing, it might actually go into actually maps and people getting tested on maps. So you just want to be careful that it is relevant to what your search is. And if you do map testing, you can do a search for it right in here. All you have to do is put in quotations map testing, see what comes up. And here it does. It has all of the, they got a parent toolkit, they have map test warm up. So when we do map testing, the kinds of things that we are talking about actually are coming up. So that's perfect. So we would want to go with then map testing because it's got 8,100 people that are looking for that. You can even take a look once you go into that search, you can see, are there any videos currently out there? And yes, there are videos that are out there that that people are creating for other people to find. And so that's a great tool to be able to use. You definitely want to be able to put in your keywords so that people will be able to find your video. So those are some great ways that you can not fall prey to those 7 things that people are doing that will make it difficult for people to find you. Again, their volume is too low, or there's not enough lighting, or they put too many crazy features into it, or they just talk into the camera instead of not creating a script. They just have the camera focusing on one area for too long. They include a link. They don't include a link in the description, or they leave the keywords empty. So you definitely want to take some of the suggestions, use them in your own videos so that people can find you. I'm also going to send a replay. I'm fixing the link. Last week, I gave a free copy of my book to people. All they needed to do was pay the shipping and handling. And I apologize to those people that tried to get the book and they weren't able to because of some of the funky things that the website was causing. So I will send a new link with a link that actually works properly. Again, I apologize for that happening. So if you haven't had an opportunity to get a copy of my book, which I will sign, seal, and deliver personally for you, then you will be able to get a copy of that as well. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day and that you're able to take some of these things into practice with your own videos. And if you are interested, next week I will be sharing on another awesome topic, which is 4 tools to make your Facebook marketing even better. So if you've been wanting to use Facebook to advertise your business, then you will definitely want to tune in. Have a wonderful rest of your week, you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye.